The Small Bird's Song. Once upon a time, in a big, green forest, lived a tiny bird. He was so small, smaller than a robin, smaller even than a sparrow. His feathers were a soft, gray-brown, perfect for hiding amongst the leaves. He didn't have a bright song like the other birds. His song was quiet. A little chirp, really. But to him, it was the most beautiful sound in the world. His name was Pip. Pip loved his forest home. He loved the tall trees, reaching up to the sky, the soft green moss on the forest floor, and the sparkly dew drops on the leaves after the rain. He loved watching the squirrels chase each other up the trees, and the butterflies flutter by. He loved the feeling of the sun on his tiny feathers. But Pip was lonely. The other birds, with their bright colors and loud songs, didn't pay much attention to him. They were too busy singing their beautiful songs, showing off their bright feathers, and chasing after juicy worms. Pip felt small and insignificant. He wished he had a bright song, a beautiful voice. One day, a terrible storm raged through the forest. The wind howled, the rain poured down, and the trees swayed violently. Pip huddled under a large leaf, shivering with fear. He felt so tiny and helpless in the face of the storm. Suddenly, he heard a faint cry. A small sound, lost in the roar of the wind and rain. He looked around, peering through the leaves. He saw it, a little baby rabbit, separated from its mother, caught in a tangle of branches, crying weakly. Pip felt a pang of sympathy. He was small, but he wasn't helpless. He flew closer, chirping his little chirp, a quiet sound, but a sound of comfort in the midst of the storm. The baby rabbit stopped crying and looked up at Pip. Its big eyes were filled with fear and confusion. Pip chirped again, and flew to a nearby branch, beckoning the rabbit with a tiny flick of his wing. It was a long and difficult journey. The wind pushed against Pip's little body, the rain soaked his feathers. But Pip persevered, chirping encouragement to the frightened rabbit. He led the rabbit to a small, sheltered area under a thick bush, protecting it from the worst of the storm. Eventually, the storm passed. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a warm glow on the forest. Pip heard a rustling in the bushes. A big, brown rabbit emerged. It was the baby rabbit's mother. She looked around frantically, sniffing the air. Then she saw her baby, safe and sound under the bush. She nuzzled her baby, letting out a soft, happy sound. She looked at Pip, her eyes filled with gratitude. Then, something amazing happened. The mother rabbit tilted her head, listening carefully. She heard Pip's quiet chirp, a small sound, but a sound full of kindness and compassion. She responded with a soft, gentle sound of her own, a low rumble of appreciation. Pip realized that his little chirp wasn't insignificant at all. It was a sound of comfort, a sound of hope, a sound of friendship. It was a sound that had saved a life. From that day on, Pip was no longer lonely. The other birds still sang their loud, beautiful songs, but they started to notice Pip. They saw the kindness in his little chirp, the courage in his tiny heart. They saw how he had helped the baby rabbit. The squirrels would pause in their games to listen to his quiet song. The butterflies would flutter around him, as if to say hello. Even the big, strong trees seemed to sway gently to the rhythm of his little chirp. He wasn't just a small bird anymore, he was Pip, the brave little bird with the heart of gold and the song that touched everyone's heart. He continued to live in his beloved forest, always ready to help those in need. His little chirp became a familiar sound in the forest, a sound that brought comfort and hope to all who heard it. He learned that true beauty wasn't in loudness or brightness, but in kindness and compassion. And his quiet song, once a source of sadness, became a symbol of his strength and generosity. One sunny afternoon, Pip was perched on a branch, singing his quiet song. A little girl wandered into the forest, lost and afraid. She heard Pip's song, and it calmed her. She followed the sound, and Pip, recognizing her fear, chirped a little louder than usual, guiding her back to the edge of the forest where she saw her parents waiting anxiously. The girl's parents were overjoyed to see her safe and sound. They thanked Pip, though they couldn't understand his little chirp. They knew, somehow, that it was a song of hope and rescue. Word of Pip's kindness spread through the forest and beyond. Animals from all over came to listen to his song, a song that spoke not of arrogance or vanity, but of empathy and courage. The owls, with their wise eyes, would nod approvingly. The deer would pause in their grazing to listen intently. The foxes, usually shy, would emerge from their dens to hear his gentle melody. One day, a famous singer from a nearby town came to the forest, hoping to find inspiration for a new song. He'd heard stories about Pip, the little bird with the magical song. He sat by the tree where Pip usually perched and listened. He heard the quiet chirp, and he felt something profound, something he'd never felt before. He wasn't hearing just a song, he was hearing a story of kindness, resilience, and love. Inspired, he wrote a beautiful song, a song that told Pip's story. He shared it with the world, and the world fell in love with the song of the small bird. Years passed, and Pip grew older, but his song remained the same, a quiet, gentle melody, filled with kindness and compassion. His little chirp echoed through the forest, a reminder that even the smallest among us can make a big difference, that even the quietest voice can touch hearts and change lives. His song wasn't just a song, it was a legacy of love. And every time someone heard it, they were reminded of the little bird who proved that true strength lies not in loudness, but in the quiet strength of a kind heart. One day, a new little bird, with feathers the color of fresh spring leaves, landed on the branch next to Pip. Pip, old but still strong, sang his familiar song. The little bird listened, its eyes wide with wonder. And as the sun set, casting a golden glow over the forest, the little bird began to sing along. A small, hesitant chirp, but a chirp that echoed Pip's song, promising a new generation of kindness and hope in the heart of the forest. The small bird's song lived on.